How's it going?
Hi.
It's been a really long time since I've spoke at anything, so thank you for being here. Oh my god, hi!
How are you?
Good. I did one of these, but I didn't actually look at everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. This is gonna make me feel, this is Missy. She's known me since I was like 4. So I now feel like I'm at home, and this is gonna be a lot of fun. So welcome. High-tech tools, Rust Belt roots. I went with this because we are Buffalo, right? Like I feel like no matter where we go in the world, even if we bring it back here, we still are who we are. We're very loud and proud to be who we are. When people hear Rust Belt, they think of the past, but those of us that are here, grit, accountability, face-to-face relationships, those are the things that matter most to us. Here and some other places, if you make a promise and deliver garbage or slop, news travels fast. We don't adopt technology because it's hyped in larger cities or areas like Silicon Valley or Austin. As much as I love those cities, sometimes what they're doing there at the very moment isn't what's best for us right now. In conversations, a lot of the time I say Buffalo's a very traditional city, like it or not, in all the great things and all the things that we wish were a little different. But we do adopt things when it's for the greater good and for the betterment of our community. I have a question for you all. How many of you have had an AI tool either recommended to you or pitched to you, I'll say even in the last year, that said like, we can do everything for your business, like, let me solve all of your problems? Please show me a show of hands. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. How many of you did it actually work for? Oh, that makes me really sad. We'll get there one of these days, right? Perfect. So, in a city built on grit and face-to-face connection, AI shouldn't be used to make more noise, right? I believe that. I did actually just say me. I didn't put my name. I'm like, I'm right here. Why would I say my name? I had to talk about this, and then when I saw when Tim put me kind of like as one of the first, if not the first AI talk of the day, we have to talk about flyers. I don't want to talk about flyers. And interesting, did you guys notice at our dinner last night, so we went to Charlie's Boatyard, in their ice cream shop. Did you look at the menu? The ice cream shop, I posted it on my story, I think. It was an AI like ice cream menu, and I was just like, I will design you one for free. Like I know that the design talk is over there, and I am not a graphic designer by any means, but I was just like, oh, please just like put it on a whiteboard or something. So I know how I'm feeling this way, and I know that in talks with fellow speakers here, and just everyone in general, we've been seeing a lot of this, more of the same, right? And it's becoming, what's the word that oh my gosh. Redundant, yes, but also
Exhausted.
that too. My kids, I said it the other day, they're seeing it so much that they're desensitized. They're desensitized to it. So you see it and like, do you really even read it anymore? So I had to talk about this. What was this say? Yes. So I'd rather see a wall of messy flyers. I actually love this. So when I'm at, in other cities or anything like that, yes, there's a lot of digital these days. But even with that, like, I would rather see a wall of flyers. I want to see people like ripping off numbers for a dog walker and that kind of thing. And I don't think we're totally losing that yet here, which is really great. I would like to keep that going. This is what I have in my notes. A flyer drawn by your child, niece or nephew. Other than a red, white, and blue chalkboard writing AI project. So trying to stay away from that. Does anybody have any, actually no, can I go back? Does anybody have any recent experiences with like an AI flyer? That was mine with the ice cream shop. I've actually never seen it in that condition. Like I've just seen them online, but not on like a board that lives forever. What about you?
Part of me, I feel like as a hot take kind of is that you see a lot more of the AI stuff with like cash-strapped small businesses. And it's almost kind of like a vernacular type of thing. And I do think, I don't know, kind of the Matthew effect, if you've heard of that, kind of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer.
Oh, yes.
In terms of that sort of thing. Like, I don't know, like part of me feels like what is considered good or bad taste is kind of dependent on like who has like the academic standards of like minimalism and stuff like that versus just like somebody who's, I don't know, not educated in the design type of stuff. So it's kind of tricky because, you know, people back in the day were like, templates are the worst, you know, like word art, that kind of stuff. Part of me feels like the AI design is just an extension of that, of somebody who's like not versed in the design world, but there is something to be said as well of just monotony and banality. So I don't know like what that means in terms of like agencies and people who work in the industry and stuff, kind of like the people who get the handmade stuff, the stuff that is not slop, or like, you know, small and medium businesses are getting squeezed, and the people who have the access to the human craft are the people, and then the people working in the field. So it's just a smaller number of businesses out there who are making the stuff have the stuff because the rich are getting rich.
Totally get it. A couple examples. We were talking about Robert Irwin yesterday. He was saying that AI has devalued all the nature photography that he does and that others do, and that, you know, yes, we should be using it, and I'm sure they're using it in like the care of their animals and things like that, making sure that they're being more precisely cared for. I know like a lot of agriculture companies and things use it for that, but it's devaluing photography, which is a creative art. I heard a quote, I don't remember who it was from, but they said, creativity doesn't live in the past, right? And that's what AI draws from. We are moving into the future, and anything that we've done or a different design, things like that, that's all in the future, and I feel like that still needs to be created by us. And that goes for writing, photography, all those other kinds of things too. And there was one more. Oh, no, I said the quote, that was it. So then the next takeaway that I had for this was AI is your new back office. So I didn't want to sit here and talk about flyers forever, which I totally get. It's just important to cover. But there are really great things for it, right? Like we want to use it for those analytical things, the things that like maybe make us squirm at night thinking about like numbers, spreadsheets. I know some people enjoy that. I don't. So something that I've personally been using it for over the last few years, and then in my just talks with some people, on like what they enjoy using AI for. We don't need it to create our brand. We don't need it to live our soul of our brand. But we can use it for heavy back office lifting. So we can use that extra energy to do the things that we enjoy doing, like design or branding or brainstorming, connection, networking. I know you just talked about collaboration, Brandon, and then networking. Like AI can't network for us, you know. So we want the energy to be able to do those things. Project management, communication tools, design platforms. So these are just some things that I've used it for. And I was talking to an AI consultant, and she was saying, her name's Taylor Gillespie, she mentioned that people are using AI as a calculator, which they shouldn't be doing, which I didn't totally disagree with not using it as a calculator. She just said, you know, we use it to do 2 + 2 is 4. Like, we still know 2 + 2 is 4. We can do that. We don't want AI to eliminate our critical thinking as a whole, but it can help us analyze a spreadsheet, clean data, upload data into, you know, help us write, you know, a code to display data in a different way. Those are things that, like, yes, we could do that on our own, but AI will help us get there faster. So those are more applicable reasons. Personally, so SOP, process extraction. Has anyone in here used Scribe? Heard of Scribe? Love Scribe because it saves my life. You only have to show or teach someone how to do it once. It's great in HR and business, or if you're building your own SOPs. You click through the screen and it follows you, builds you a nice little workbook. You nodded, so I'm like telling you. I was like, yes, it's great. Saves you a lot of time, and then you can go back, edit, add special instructions, what have you. Since the beginning of this, what I would say, like AI tsunami, meetings, right? So meetings and action items. I mean, Zoom integrated AI so quickly. Google Meet, like Gemini does those things. And then same thing, so scope and brief structuring in pitching. So I own a co-working space, but I'm also a freelance marketing consultant. When I have a call, I transcribe those notes, and then I say, okay, this was the call. These are the things I think I could do with this. All right, Claude, Gemini, whoever, help me draft a pitch for this client based on, and then I'll upload like a couple other previous proposals that I've done. And it helps me do that work so much faster. I know a few of you in the room, and it's like we pitch a lot, or the more you pitch, the more work you get. So the more effective and efficient you can get at doing that and using AI for it, wonderful. In regards to project management, I think I wrote that in here. You don't have to like search for AI, right? People are referring you tools, use this, use that, look up something to help you do this better. AI is coming to us. Like we use Zoom, we use Slack, we use Google, we use Microsoft, some of us. AI tools are already integrated. So I feel like you don't necessarily have to go out and find and use new tools. Utilize the ones that are already in the tools that you're using. There's a whole conversation about like budgets, right? And how much like micro spending you're doing with all these little tools when you already actually have them at your fingertips and tools you already pay for. So communication tools. One way that I do agree, and I would love to hear your feedback on, so customer support, Google search or help, right? Google support. A lot of people ask a lot of the same questions. I think even with Yelp, people ask a lot of the same questions, and even for Mariah, like if people are asking the same things about SEO, you could probably utilize a chatbot. Nothing wrong with that. So customer support on a very large scale or even a smaller scale, something that you can work on your own would be great. Identifying certain problems or keywords in issues to help kind of put them in the right place is also a great idea. And then drafts, we kind of talked about that a little bit with the proposals too. Design platforms, again, not using it to create the designs, but helping us make the designs with the information that we want it to have. I actually really loved when I was doing research on this for asset categorization, there we go, and tagging for people who run like a content management system, a true CMS. If you're working on WordPress and you have all this content, you want it to be tagged appropriately, show up in certain galleries, things like that, like AI can help you with that, and you can help it learn, what a certain cabinet looks like, or this is a kitchen cabinet, this is a bathroom cabinet, or this is a kitchen sink, a bathroom sink. I'm using those just random examples. And then yes, of course, AI utilizes what information is out there, so it is helpful for competitive and trend aggregation. I just think obviously you have to double check everything, because I've even seen in legal scenarios, where they'll be like, oh, this is the case, I want to propose like a solution to this, and then it'll pull a case that's not even existent. It just takes words from all different cases and made up one. And that was obviously not very good. So we have to check everything, which we'll get to after this slide. So I'm just gonna check myself. All right, perfect. I wanted to leave a lot of room for questions and discussion at this. I feel like this is gonna be one of those things. So sustainability, I was very proud of myself to do the little AI in sustainability. I was like, wait, that's cute. And I don't know how much we'll get with this for the rest of the day, so I really want to sit on this for a minute. AI with intention and environmental awareness. So I don't know how much AI and sustainability really go together, because I'm sure, as everyone sees in the news and things like that, like it's sucking energy, data centers, water, things like that. But we're also seeing a lot of misinformation. I know for the longest time I'm like, oh, is this AI prompt worth 7 bottles of water? That was just like a thing that I read on Instagram somewhere, and I'm like, okay, let's just be more mindful. It may or may not be the actual input output of what that would be, but it helped me become more intentional. This is interesting. I was like proud of myself. I wrote this down. We don't talk enough about the physical infrastructure behind the cloud. So in Ireland, so you read this already, but in Ireland, the data centers are consuming over 20% of the national grid. In the next 30 years, they're thinking it might even double that, which is insane. So running 800 word unrefined prompts at a massive scale, it will affect our energy costs at a consumer level. So, we've got these big companies using AI in an effective way. Our bills are gonna go up, like as people, and it's a very deep conversation, but that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. So I don't know if any of you came to 42 North. It was a couple of years ago. So there was a gentleman, his name was Max Swinburne. He was with 42 Sensors. He didn't win, but we actually stayed in touch ever since then, because they had basically a sensor that, instead of like a timer on a washing machine for like when it was done, it was a sensor that sensed when, and this was applied in like breweries, things like that, like sensed when maybe like the lines are clean. So instead of just timing it and being inefficient with water and things like that, in that sense, it could sense when it was clean and it was more effective, more efficient. So I stayed in touch with him over the years, and I thought, hey, he'd be a really great person to call and talk about this. He's the one who helped me do some research on Ireland, which was interesting. Yep, well, same thing. Sorry, I was just making sure I didn't miss anything. How many of you think about this when you prompt? Or how many of you have never? Okay, so we do. No, not so. A new perspective. New perspective, that's good. Does anybody have any comments about this? I feel like, yeah, please.
We're 20 minutes away from the biggest power plant in Homer City, PEA.
Okay.
And they're putting a data center in there. And they say that the water, they treat the water with a forever chemical. It never comes out.
Okay.
So where does that water go? Does it hit our water supply where we drink water? I don't know.
It raises a lot of questions. Yeah.
And it's just a 5 to 10 year build to just build the plant and the data center. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Absolutely unreal what it's doing to our town and our county, as far as how many people are going to come in. But at the end of the day, they're putting 85 parking spots in the plant itself, which is thousands of acres.
Yeah.
85 cars. So how many employees is that long term once everything's built and everything goes away as far as the construction goes?
Yeah. And everything was approved, I assume. It was approved and they're building it, just cake.
Buildings.
Right?
Buildings. Yeah. You're never stopping this.
I remember when I opened my co-working space, they were giving me a hard time about 14 parking spots. So that's fun.
They're putting in 600 RV spots behind our house on 60 acres.
Really? Interesting.
To stop that from happening, that's $70 million over the next 10 years.
It's just infuriating. You just feel like you can't do anything about it.
Yes.
It feels
that way.
I just feel like we have no choice. What the hell am I going to do?
You're not stopping it.
No.
But my question is there going to be an AI bubble that's going to burst?
People keep saying it, but it hasn't happened yet.
Right. And what's going to happen after that?
And I think, and that's why I knew this conversation was going to be really interesting and a great leaping off point for the rest of the day. So I'm very intrigued. Please, well, we get to the end of this, like connect with me after the whole day is over, and then we can continue to talk about this, because when I was creating this talk, I'm like, no one knows everything about AI. I don't know everything. I did a lot of research to try to come from a very medium standpoint on all these things. Like I have my own personal opinions that may or may not agree with what's in here. But what I thought to myself, and for you, is that we can do what we can, right? Like I almost hate to compare it to this, but like not everyone is vegan, not everyone is vegetarian, but people think a certain way, and like that affects the world completely differently. But if we do what we can at our level, maybe it will help. And it's the hope thing. I always think of like the Avengers or something, when you get like a little bit of hope. If I do what I need to do, then I can sleep at night and I can feel better about contributing to the future where my children are living, or other people, the future of our world really is being raised. There's company, Anheuser-Busch, they laid off a bunch of people, and everybody's hearing about, layoffs and stuff because of AI, but then you've got construction companies hiring AI consultants and people to help them build specific systems to utilize it and do it correctly. But it all kind of goes back to this. It all comes back to like our energy source, and that's something I was talking with Max about, and he actually said, he's like, we have to go nuclear. Like, not in the bad way. I feel like we hear the word nuclear and everyone's like, I grew up across the from the West Valley demonstration project, okay? Like, they always said, oh, do you glow when you're from West Valley? No, in fact, we do not. But he said, it's kind of like Iron Man, which I know this is a very specific reference, but the arc reactor, right? And just having a lot of energy. We need to be able to figure out how, and in some senses we have, as far as going nuclear and having like smaller smaller but powerful energy sources, we need to keep going in that direction. And there are hopeful things that I've been reading where we're going the right way, empowering data centers like this and avoiding things like this where it'll affect consumers. But until then, we're gonna go back to what we used to fight about, fossil fuels and things that we were like, we don't wanna do that. We don't wanna tap into those types of energy sources. But then something like this comes along, and yes, big companies use it, but as we use it as individuals too, it really it drives the problem, and the solution isn't as fast, right? Like, this is wildfire, but the solution isn't necessarily as much wildfire, at least from what we see and what they're presenting and putting out in the public. But I'll move on from this. We can talk more about it later. I definitely want to follow up. So on a more fun note, so the authenticity audit. So I know I heard this somewhere, but I've adopted it so much that it really truly has become mine. I've mentioned it in a lot of scenarios in consulting and even just in the corporate world, human in, human out. I think that is the simplest, easiest thing to take with you every single day in everything that you're doing. We're gonna use AI, it's okay. We're gonna use AI to help us plan a family vacation for 20 people, making sure that you have all your food and everything like that. I know it's gonna happen, and people and companies are gonna use it. But if we're going to do it, human in, human out. Giving it good direction. I would say never give it a whiteboard. Don't just be like, oh, give me, I don't even know, some restaurants to go to. Like, tell it what kind of restaurant you want. Oh, I'd like to go to a restaurant within this mile radius of my house. This is the type of food I'd like. This is who's attending. It's like me, my partner, my kids. Maybe so a kid-friendly restaurant would be helpful. Give it some direction, and then let it do that. I'm not saying that's the best example. I could have done data, but restaurants are more relevant for me. Let it process it, and then when you're reading it, be like, okay, well, we talked about this earlier. That restaurant's closed, or actually, that restaurant's not really close to my house, or oh, I've been there. It's kind of a dive. I probably don't want to take my kids there. You just have to evaluate it. Right, and the same thing with data, the same thing with anything else you do, whether you're putting it into, Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever. There's a lot more sophisticated versions of that example. Have any of you thought about it this way before? I feel like you have. This room seems pretty with it, which is good. And then so this one, I actually wanted to, oh no, I hit the button wrong. What did I do? I want to just check the time. No, it's mad at me. Try again. Pause. Come on. You can do it. Sorry.
Try pulling it out, plugging it
I
in.
did. It's.
There it is.
There we go. Perfect. Thank you. I just tapped the wire, so my bad. So I wanted to give you something to take with you through the rest of the day. I know we have a lot of talks about this, and I hope that this helps. I would love feedback again after, if this does or doesn't, but I thought this would be great for you to take along throughout the rest. The back office check, I know we're talking about a lot of tools. We're talking about SEO. We're talking about being and remaining human. So tools, sustainability. There's a lot of talks today about building websites and vibe coding and things of that nature. I've explored that. I've explored developing an app using AI. But if you're gonna do that, how are you gonna do it? Build that framework in a notebook. That's actually what I did. I took a pen and paper and I just wrote down this is my app idea. This is how I want it to look. This is how I want it to be. So when I started it, I already had this really great leaping off point. It wasn't like, oh, I have an idea for a different type of app. Build me something, and then you're just layering on query after query, and it's just too many. And then authenticity, when you look at it at the end of the day, is this something that you could deliver and proudly say, I created this, I'm delivering this to you, I looked at this enough. I mean, in reading these two, I'm read your cards before you do it. And to answer the question, yes, I used AI to help me with this talk, but I feel and I'm proud of, and I did a little research on how much energy it took. So the energy for this talk was equal to charging my cell phone 3 times. So it was actually kind of cool, but also perspective, right? It wasn't free, but it also wasn't a ton. I put it in our Slack channel for the speakers, and there was a comment about data centers and how much it costs to like water a golf course. And you'd actually have to be, I think they said it was 3,000 prompts a day or something like that in order to be an equivalent of that, which is a medium to large company. I mean, an individual contributor, I feel like even us here probably wouldn't reach that in a day. So just some perspective, you can look up some things like that. Did I end up at the end already? It's good. Look at me. I like to look at me. Human in, human out, and then this was just a nice little quote. Oh, I made you take the picture. That's good. We're doing good. And that's it. That's me. Thank you. I was like, did I put all this stuff in my person?